Alright guys, welcome to the World Class Happiness channel again. I'm Dominic. My message today really is just to try and highlight something that I think is really important. That's important because it will make the difference between your happiness and your frustration a lot of the time. Okay, now the simple thing is that a lot of people tend to blame people. They tend to blame other things. They tend to make excuses. And what you've got to realise is when you make everything your fault, absolutely everything, you can either find a solution because you've given yourself the control back, or you can certainly improve your situation, you make it better. All right, now what people tend to do is they blame other people and other things, and that sort of shifts the responsibility away from themselves. The problem with that is that you then do nothing about it. Oh, it's not my fault. I haven't got to do anything. But what that does is then keeps you in that same position, or actually makes you fall back and make you feel bad because you feel helpless. And a lot of the time, all that is a story. Okay, now I'm going to use an example. There are loads of examples, and I could go on all day about this, but I'm going to use an example that a lot of you will be able to relate to. Okay, either because you're doing it yourself, or you know lots of people who have done it or do it. Okay, now we've just we're sort of coming to the end of this pandemic situation, and how many times have you heard people say, I've put on a little bit of weight because of lockdown or because of this pandemic, the gyms are shut. I'm in at night time a lot more. So I'm sitting around and I'm eating takeaways, whatever. Okay, there's all sorts of reasons that people give themselves that kind of excuses their situation. Oh well, it's because of this. All right, now I've heard that lots of times. I've even heard there's people who have maybe put on kilos upon kilos. I work in kilos because of judo, but I know somebody who put on 20 kilos. I'm obviously not going to name any names, but somebody put on 20 kilos during lockdown and blamed it on lockdown. Okay, now the strange thing is, I also know somebody who lost 20 kilos during the same lockdown, exactly the same lockdown. Now how does that make it lockdown's fault? Okay, it can't possibly be lockdown. All it is the difference in behavior, the difference in decisions, and difference in actions. Okay, so when we start passing the buck and say it's not us, it's that or them, we can't find a solution to it. Okay, and going back to the lockdown thing, it was very easy really. If you wanted to make the correct decisions, okay, I'm going to work out indoors. I'm going to get up every morning and do some press-ups or do some tricep dips on the edge of a chair or on the edge of my bed. I can do some squats in the middle of the living room while I'm watching TV or whatever. There's loads and loads of things you can do. I can go out for walks. I can go out for bike rides. I can run. There's all sorts of things that you could have done, and a lot of people did do that, to be fair. A lot of people did use that time, and those are the ones who weren't making excuses. They were like, I'm going to use this time to get myself in shape. So you can do that. You can do that virtually the opposite way around. So my point today, okay, because I'm not just getting at people who are overweight. I suppose that's easy to do that because I'm not overweight. The reason I tend to often say things like that is because it's difficult for me to point the finger at people who are struggling in certain areas if I'm struggling in that area too. Okay, so I tend to, where the places where I'm doing okay, I'll highlight that often. But what I also do is acknowledge that the places where I'm not doing so well or I'm not so successful, that's my fault. I haven't made the correct decisions in that area. I haven't spoken to the correct people in that area. I haven't made the right choices or done the right actions or whatever. And I'm still working on them things, and I will work on them things because I know it's down to me. It's not down to my education. It's not down to, well, it might be down to my education, but that I haven't you know, try to find the education in that area or whatever. It could be that I've not used my time wisely. It could be that I haven't believed in myself enough. But everything that is wrong in my life, and there are still things that aren't perfect, I'm happy, but I'm not perfect. And those things that aren't perfect are my fault. And while you say that, instead of make out that it's somebody else's fault or something else's fault, then you can never really be happy, because in your own mind you really know deep down you're not really taking responsibility, and you're not giving yourself the best chance to get where you want to get. So that's the end of my message today. If you like what I'm saying, do something about it, and don't make excuses. And I'll see you again on another video. If you like what we're talking about on the channel, please subscribe. It does really, really help. All right, cheers guys.